All right. While we were there, Rob, LeBron owned the weekend. I don't know if he won it. I think the Steph won. Steph had the game. He was clearly the star of the game. LeBron did hit the game winner, which was a great moment for him to do that in Cleveland. But LeBron owned the weekend with, so many of the comments he made. And we're going to address two. Let's start with the notion that surprised me of him kind of putting it out there about maybe a return to Cleveland, is still in the cards. Like, it's not off the table is how he worded it. Now, let me say this, Rob. I don't think he'll play another real game or season, for the Cavaliers. If he went back, I think it'd be something ceremonial, maybe to, retire as a Cav or something like that. But I don't see him playing. I don't see him playing for them. But when I first heard it, I thought it was ridiculous. And I was like, no. I mean, they got those young boys, you don't disrupt that. But then I started thinking about it, Rob. And I said, you know what? The goal is to win a championship. It's not to have a nice young nucleus that is pretty good, but never championship material. And if in 2 years, when LeBron is a free agent, that the Cavs look like, they're nice, but they're not winning no titles. Evan Mobley's good, Darius Garland's good, Jared Allen's good. I started thinking about it and I said, hold up. Now I wouldn't break up that core for LeBron, but if they could somehow get him with that core, and I think now, Rob, as he's gotten older, he's playing off the ball more. He's not the system as anymore, or as certainly not as much as he used to be. He's showing he more fits into a system. And if he could go there and be a part of the system that they run, give you maybe 24, 25 points a night, maybe be your leading scorer, but he's not dominating everything and taking away from those other players, then hey, I think it might be able to work. I'd give it a shot if that's the case. So those were my thoughts about it. I don't think it'll happen, but those were just some of my thoughts.
That ship has sailed. I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't. I just think
at all.
I just wouldn't do it. Because it's not just that. It's about if he comes, Bronny has to be a part of the team.
Well, maybe, but okay. I wasn't factoring that in.
But that's what he said. I mean, I'll go anywhere if I could play with Bronny or whatever. Maybe Bronny's not that good. I'm not, Chris. I don't know where.
Well, you're conflating. We're going to get into the whole Bronny thing.
Okay, but I'm just saying. If I'm Cleveland, it was great. LeBron was here. He left. He was here 11 years. And we won one championship. He came back. He redeemed himself. Let's leave it at that with a good feeling about LeBron and what he did. We don't need a third stanza, a third act. This is good. Leave it as is.
That's fair. I think it's fine the way it is right now. Like I said, if I was able to do it, if it really looked like a good basketball move, like the piece to get us over the hump, and I'm trying to win a championship, I'd be open. But I think it's going to end just like you said. I don't think he's going back. And it's fine. It's fine because, they did get that one championship first in 52 years for the city in any major sport.
And it was huge, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Why would you want to mess that up? That was great.
All right, so the second thing, and do we have sound, Bo, of his comments about wanting to play with Bronny? Let me know if we do. But we know it's been known for a while that he wants to play with his son, LeBron Jr. in the NBA. And he came out over All-Star Weekend and said not only wants to play in the league with him, be in the league at the same time, but wants to be on the same team. And Rob, he said money won't be an issue. So he would take maybe the veterans minimum or mid-level, et cetera, whatever, he had to take to be on the same team with Bronny. Now, here's the situation. I'll give you a few particulars and then you can, give your views. If Bronny, under the current rules where you have to go to a year of college or at least have a year from your high school graduation, Bronny would be available for the 2024 draft. LeBron will be 39, obviously turning 40 in the upcoming year. I think it'll be his 22nd year because this is his, 19th?
So it's
next
3
year
years.
will be his 20th, and that'll be the 2023 draft. Then the 2024 draft will be his 21st. So he'll be entering his 22nd year, I believe. So Bronny right now, Rob, is ranked. He's a junior in high school. He's ranked as the 34th best junior in that class. So those are kind of that's the situation, that's the context. What do you think about the notion of LeBron playing with Bronny and all of that? Him pushing.
If I was an organization, I'd want no part of it at all. I think, like LeBron is trying to maneuver his way to make sure his son gets into the league, which I don't have a problem.
Is that
with
what you think it is?
Yeah, that's what I think it is because of just what you said. He's the 34th player as a junior. You know what I mean? He ain't at the top 5 or automatic. 34th is not that impressive.
Well, it's impressive. I mean, he's still very much
junior?
Potential. Yeah.
It's not
it ain't LeBron James.
But he ain't a 34th player in the league, though. I mean,
but I'm saying 34th in your class. Granted, it's not like top 5, top 10.
That's what I'm saying.
But many players ranked at that or lower have made it to the league. And 34th best player in Dwayne Wade.
Was 34th in his
Dwayne Wade went to a JUCO.
No, I understand.
And then went to Marquette. Darren Williams was a teammate with Bracy Wright. Bracy Wright was top 12 in the country. Darren Williams was like top 50. The one that went to Illinois ended up having a great
top
career.
50 in his junior class is what I'm asking.
50 in his class.
Okay, all right.
When he was coming out as a senior. Yes, I just disagree with the term "not that impressive."
Okay,
that's impressive.
Because I'm thinking of when you're talking about your son, being in the league. I would have thought it would have been higher, but okay.
No, you're not a guarantee, right? You're not a lock.
That's what
I'll give you that.
Okay,
right.
that's what I'm saying. He's not a lock to be in the league. If you told me he's in the top 10 juniors or top, in top 10,
top 5,
then I would be
usually,
like, okay,
right?
Like he's got a great shot. That's all I'm saying. 34 was like a number I wasn't expecting to hear. But anyway, I just wouldn't want to be a part of it. I think you open yourself up for how other dealing with it, teammates, LeBron, his son ain't getting playing time. His son is this. You feel pressure that Bronny has to be a part of whatever. I just think you set yourself up for a lot of stuff where you're going to have resentment from the team. If he's a star, Chris, that's different.
Right. Well,
but
the example is Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey. And a few things
Ken Griffey was better. Ken Griffey Jr. was better than Ken Griffey.
Ken Griffey Jr. was a superstar.
Right. That's
in the
what
making.
I'm saying.
He was a prodigy. And Ken Griffey was just holding on.
Right.
He was at the end of his career, which actually made it easier.
Right.
Because you weren't there because of dad. It was clear you were just phenomenal.
He was the star, and dad was the role player off the bench. It was nothing for the Mariners.
He was only
to have
there
him.
because of Ken Griffey Jr.
But he could hit off the bench as a left-handed bat. Like it wasn't a force that you have a 40-year-old. I don't remember how old. And Ken Griffey was a very good player, Chris. You know that in his day. He just wasn't as good as his son. Junior was way better than Ken Griffey.
And also I think baseball is a little different because what you do as a baseball, like what my teammate does, Rob, in baseball, it doesn't impact me really at all. I mean, obviously we're trying to win.
You're right.
Exactly. No. So whereas if LeBron were on, LeBron could not theoretically, impact Bronny. If everything's built around LeBron, and then where's Bronny or the other players fit in, it can just impact his development. You looked at it from a team perspective, and I think those were good points. I'm looking at it from and then LeBron and Bronny perspective. And I think LeBron, obviously, I think he's been a phenomenal dad from what we can see. And I think he means well. But I don't think he should be so aggressively pushing the narrative of me playing with Bronny publicly. Because I think it just adds pressure to Bronny.
Yep.
I
agree with that.
He's 34th. Now, again, I think that's impressive, but it's not like you're a lock. Not like when LeBron was in high school, where you
Right.
knew he was definitely going to the league. So I just think, look, what if Bronny's not ready after 1 year at North Carolina or Duke or Ohio State or wherever he might go? I mean, really,
And then
what if
you're
he's
asking
not
LeBron
ready
to
and
hang
you're
on another
pressuring
year?
him? Well, if LeBron
right.
or LeBron is saying, "Come on out now, so we can play together."
Right.
And I don't think, I think whenever Bronny's ready, or let's say after his first year, LeBron has to put Bronny's well-being ahead of his own desires. So if Bronny's not ready and he's a second-round pick, or if somebody, which you get no guaranteed contract as a second-round pick, or Rob, if a team is like, hey, we'll take him in the lottery just to get LeBron. I don't think either of those scenarios is good for Bronny.
Right.
And I think LeBron should, in that situation, be open and like, you know what, you need another year or two, maybe.
Chris,
It's not about you playing with me. That's not the most important thing.
Right.
We'll let you stay in school and develop and come out when you're ready. I think that's got to be the priority.
Here, how about this? And just as a narrative, but all this pressure, Bronny, whatever. What if he don't make it? What if they just said we're not drafting him? He's not good enough, or whatever.
Right.
Is that a black eye on LeBron? Is that a negative? Like, just he was pushing his son, and he's at the end of his career, and nobody's going to throw him a life raft. No, he's not good enough. We're not going to draft him. Do you know what I mean? After LeBron has made this push 3 years, about 2 or 3 years earlier, that he wants to play with Bronny.
I wouldn't.
I'm asking you. I'm just.
I wouldn't. It wouldn't. I mean, I don't think it would affect LeBron's legacy or anything, but it'd be unfortunate for Bronny. Bronny would be the one to bear the negative brunt of that. Like, your dad was pushing you like crazy, and you just weren't good enough.
Right.
It's kind of like what's the Ball brother that Jello or LiAngelo that didn't make it, right?
Right.
His two brothers made it. He didn't. He wasn't good enough. His dad's talking him up. So I just think, Rob, as for all the great benefits that come from being LeBron James' son, including him being a great and involved and engaged dad, the negative is just that, man, my dad is like one of the best two players to ever pick up a basketball. And I got to walk in those footsteps. I've known, Rob, kids that I grew up with whose dad was a professional athlete. And it's hard to be, and not anywhere near LeBron James, but still made it to the pros.
Right.
That's hard, particularly when you play that sport, because everybody's expecting you to be him. So I just think even if he makes it and he were to play with LeBron on the same team, if he's only there because of LeBron, I think, like you said, in the locker room, other players are like, dude, he ain't all that.
Right.
He's just here because of his dad. And fans are thinking that I don't think you want to put Bronny in that position.
See, I'm with you. I think that's bad for him. I think that would be bad. And if he hasn't earned it on his own, and I think that's what LeBron has put out there, that, hey, you could have me for cheap. Just draft my son. That's all you got to do, and I'll come no matter what. When he says money, it doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter. It's just like, it would have been nice to just kind of let Bronny continue, Chris, and then see where he is.
And hopefully he will from this point on. But you're right, to this point he hasn't. Because I think about that interview. I don't know if you saw it. It was on Uninterrupted or one of their, shows.
Right.
Where LeBron was with his wife, Savannah, and they were talking about Bronny and, what do you want him to do and going forward. And Savannah was like, I just want him to be happy. I'm paraphrasing, but essentially, I just want him to be happy.
That sounds like
and
a
do
mom,
what he wants
right?
to do.
I just want him to be happy.
Or a dad. That's how I looked at it with my girls. I didn't push them into being
anything.
A lawyer, a doctor. Right. I just want them to be successful and well adjusted and take advantage of their opportunities. Right. They don't have to be broadcasting or whatever. Right. But LeBron was like, I want him to be in the NBA. Like, I ain't playing. I want him to be in the NBA. And if Bronny wants that, great. But Snoop Dogg, now I'm not saying his son was as good as Bronny. Remember, Snoop Dogg's son was a great wide receiver. I think went to UCLA.
Yep.
And then decided he didn't want to play once he got there. he was burnt out. And so I just think you don't want to put that extra pressure on him to have to play in the NBA, or to have to make it. Because if he doesn't, then it could be crushing to him, and make him feel embarrassed or something. So I just think LeBron needs to be careful with it and make sure Bronny's well-being is first and foremost.